Howdy, partner, and welcome to a Paradise Lost podcasting channel. This here's your marshal, Cody. My pronouns are he, they. Joining me as we put the weird into Weird West is...
Hi, I'm Christina. Pronouns are she, they is fine as well. I am playing Emerson Drez. She runs the local theater, and as you will come to learn, she has kind of a paranoia or phobia of birds.
Hi there, everyone. My name's Brendan. My pronouns are he, him, and in this game, I'll be playing John Liberty, the high-kicking sheriff of Caliente.
Hi, my name is Britt. My pronouns are she, her. I'm playing Cassidy Burke, but her friends can call her Sid. Cassidy's a widow who owns a bar, and she always carries a Zippo but doesn't smoke.
Hey guys, my name's Tyler. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm playing Jackie Dawson, kindly and gentlemanly barber of Caliente.
Hey, this is Michaela, she, her, playing Doc Cavell, and she is the town doc who does the best she can in these violent times to walk the line of not adding to the cycle of death, which can be difficult sometimes.
Hi, I'm Alex. I go by he, him. I'm playing Samuel Mammon as the town preacher, a man of spirit and soul and family.
And without further ado, we present to you Deadlands, a fistful of ghost rock.
I'm honestly very impressed at how long that he held that note for.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I didn't hear the Craig do the doo-doo-doo-doo.
He did it.
He definitely did it.
It's the ghost of
I
Craig's
guess I missed
past. Come to haunt us.
He's starting to sneak in. He's learning. He's learning how to sneak around. Christine's hate for him.
He's learning how to avoid the abuse.
You know,
All
if
right.
he just didn't fail that one time, he would have avoided some of you.
He has failed a couple times. I'll be the first one to call him out. He's failed a couple times. He failed the worst once. But he has had several small infractions.
All right. So with the end of season 1, how did you guys feel about the Savage World system as a whole, I guess would be the first question.
I don't know. It was kind of so-so, I guess, in my mind.
I will loosely agree that it was workable, but not my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm a big crunch guy. I like a good crunch, and it's not a very crunchy game.
So, if nobody else has an opinion, I would like to know what Cody's is before I throw mine down, because I have been ruminating on this.
You got a lot of opinions.
Did you guys hear me?
Nope, not at all. Lucky me.
Oh. I said I kind of liked it. It was definitely different and hard to grasp at first.
Yeah, I like it in concept. It's got a big problem with power creep, from what I saw, especially since they don't really do scaling.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the game fits my style. Like, when I stopped playing the game against y'all and pretty much just stopped using the system and made you roll dice to make things fun, is when things, I feel, got better on my side as a DM.
Fair.
Because about halfway through, I just stopped using the book and just made y'all roll what dice felt right.
Yeah.
I mean, in the long run, it's really about how you want to run your game and if everyone's having fun with it.
I also, in terms of, less so about the system, which I have my own gripes with, and more so about the game, I will say that I felt a little bit lost in the sauce at times, in terms of my own character choices compared to everyone else. Because, so me and Christina were the only non-magical people in the game, and Christina's character was at least built around, team buff, you know?
Yeah.
And I kind of felt a little bit like under par when we're like, fucking, hey, we're literally parading around Yeehaw upside down. We got a guy who casts Fist, a religious entity, a mad scientist, team buffer, and yeah, I cut hair, guys.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel like I wasn't like, my character didn't really get a chance to be my character at certain points. Did that make sense?
Yeah. And I think part of that comes down to a little more planning would have helped.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
On my part.
Yeah.
Like, you being the plain guy with the original direction of the campaign of, oh yes, kingdom building with railroad coming into town.
And I think I also like undercut a little bit of like, oh, we're playing a Yeehaw game. I'm gonna make a Yeehaw character with Yeehaw problems, and that's what I did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think there was differences in like expectation, you know, and I think that's
also
probably
it comes
gonna get
across
more
like there was
problems
like
in season 2.
it comes across like there's a bit of a lack of depth to my character, but I have a lot of time put into the backstory of my character. I just feel like I've been like not allowed to use it. Not allowed. That's not the right word. But like the game hasn't been in a way that was conducive to my character explaining my character yet.
As the guy who had to, yeah, because I was forced with a gun to my head. No, as the person who edited the first like 2/3 of the game where that most of the social stuff was going on, I don't feel like you come across as that. I think that you come across as the most competent and not insane person in the group.
Yeah. You were definitely the straight man.
Yeah, but like that's literally it. I'm not the straight man who like helps in this way. Like I'm just a guy who talks.
You, I think, had some of the more memorable moments that didn't end in like, haha, it's a joke because John's kind of an idiot, or like, holy shit, Emerson just shot that bird for like no fucking reason, or like all of your moments I felt like with Jackie were kind of like, they were good moments that would fit like the tone of a Western. And I think that some of the problem that at least I ran into is I've never seen a Western in my life.
I certainly think that I was like, it wasn't just you though. Like we were like fighting a town full of zombies and shit. Like I don't know. I think I just didn't understand the assignment.
No, that's totally fair. So like looping back around to the system, I'm going to say it right now. I'm sure that there are some really good ideas in here that someone can use for something. I don't think I will ever play another Savage Worlds game.
Yeah.
I did not like it. The dice are too... The dice swing so hard. Like there is no... They avoid the bell curve. They avoid the bell part of the curve in one way or the other. There was never an average that anyone rolled. It was always either, oh, I fucking missed, or I hit with 8 raises. There was almost never like a middle ground.
That's very true. That did happen a lot.
And then like I know that Alex didn't get to use his magic casting with like the cards and everything a whole hell of a lot, and like the 2 or 3 times that he did it, like
I think a lot of that too was like him holding his cards close to his chest, for lack of a better term.
There was a bit of that, yeah. Like I like the reveal a bit, but yeah, also it was like there wasn't a reason to, right? There wasn't in the first half of the game. There wasn't anything pushing him to like, I need to do this thing. I need to access a power. I need to whatever. When we're just standing around talking, doing social things, like there wasn't a need for any of that. So the character was kind of being not in your face kind of background character a bit, just kind of there.
Right.
But
and
yeah, like system wise, I feel like so for
it's
me,
very
I come from a
polarizing.
like Pathfinder D&D background where it's like, magic is pretty, spells are pretty specific in what they can do, like you don't have the most freedom like by the book. So like there was a little bit of learning how to freeform that a little bit for me, but there was also like it just felt kind of weirdly it felt more limited to me than a Pathfinder with the spell choices and
that.
stuff.
Yeah, like
I could
it has
see
a lot of options, but those options are like it's almost like a facade because the game itself is actually pretty scant on like meta. I hate to sound like a meta gamer here, but like the good options are like oppressively good, and the other options are like if you want it, take it, but otherwise it's not going to help you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut Brett off.
I was saying I completely understand what Alex is saying because I started with Pathfinder, so like I'm used to that system a lot more than these newer ones, and I definitely agree with Alex on that. Like now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah, like I was excited at first at the idea of like a little more open freeform magic system because I mean I've heard Brendan tell me for years about different system he's played and like, oh yeah, you can just do this whatever, and like I started trying to do it and like, oh, I want to do this thing, right? Like I'm trying to think of a example from the game, but I'd be like, oh, I want to do this thing, and I'd like, well, I can do all these spells if I use the deal with the devil mechanic. I like look through all the spells. I'm like, none of these actually like get me there. Like even being a little creative with it.
No spell is going to beat the blast spell.
Not even that. It was just like social and utility stuff,
Yeah.
And so it felt limited.
At the risk of sounding like a bit of a like snob here, I'm gonna go out and make a general assessment from my point of view about this game. I think we're all a bit more seasoned role players, and this game is like meant to entertain. Like if we were like some kids who wanted to like have a fun time and like be goofballs on the weekends, that'd be really really good. I think the system because it's very easy to like do crazy stuff in this game, but it's also like kind of shallow if you have any experience playing in other systems or role playing in general.
Yeah, like looking at it like initially, I was like, "Oh, this is really cool! I can do all this weird monk shit." And
there's some nice bells and whistles, but it's kind of like it's a wacky inflatable arm man.
Right, and I will say that like we do have the the detriment of playing it online, and I really do feel like this game would probably benefit from being in person and having an actual deck of cards to pull from and actually rolling the dice and like, oh, I got a 6 on the D6, that means I gotta roll it again. Oh, it happened again. Like I'm sure that there's like a very good tactile feel that goes along with that, but just
a lot of it's lost on us. A lot of it's lost on us.
A lot of it is unfortunately lost on us. And then on top of that, when we're recording like, what was it, session 11, Discord had a huge update that completely screwed over the Savage bot, so we couldn't do anything anymore.
I just started using physical dice.
Overall, not a bad taste in my mouth, but a little bit of a sour aftertaste with this game. It's not my favorite. I don't think it's anyone's favorite.
I'm not gonna say I'll never play it again because I definitely would if somebody was like, "Yeah, I want to run a Savage Worlds game." I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'll play." But I'm never gonna search out and be like, "Oh yeah, I want to run this game. I'm gonna use the Savage World system."
I think the strength of this system is its adaptability for if you don't have something that fits what you wanted to do.
Yeah, you can kind of throw anything,
and that's a reasonable. That's a reasonable bonus. That's cool. But, I don't know.
I mean, but also, like, if we wanted to go back to, like, adaptability of something, like, we could just play Shadow of the Demon Lord, which I think is a lot simpler and, like, but also crunchy in the way that most of us enjoy.
Yeah, I view... I'm not going to go on a tangent about that game, because I have a lot to say about that one, of course. So, I agree with you, though. I think Savage Worlds falls into a little bit of the D&D problem that I have, where there's player options and player choice, but like not a lot of true versatility for what you can do.
Right.
And
I mean that's the feeling I had. I briefly looked through like D&D 5e. I mean just the core rule book a couple of years ago, and it's kind of like, oh, this just kind of boils down to there's like 3 builds for each class. That's kind of lame, actually.
Yeah, and there's a bit more now, but it's still kind of like,
yeah.
I'm still kind of lukewarm on it.
There's actually a lot more now than there used to be. Like the core rulebook has about 2 or 3 for each. There's numerous more now for each class.
It's like it's starting to approach Pathfinder levels.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're sidetracking a bit.
Yeah.
A bit.
Like my big gripe with that is the EA model of giving you classes, but that's back to Savage Worlds.
Yeah.
I definitely I liked the setting and stuff that you chose for the game. I don't know if that's part of like the Savage Worlds in general. And that was a cool concept and everything, and I'm sure it's probably when you were like, I'm not going by the book anymore. I will say the dice rolling and figuring out what to roll and stuff, I know it was a little hard to navigate, like, oh, what do I need for this? I did notice, even for some of us who played other like systems and stuff, a lot of us were constantly asking, okay, what is it that I need? What do I need to do? What is this thing? How do I roll? There was a lot of information that I don't think a lot of us were retaining because there was so much.
Yeah.
More importantly, I think overall, what do you think, Cody? What do you want to do with this in the future?
So I know the listeners are probably getting tired of hearing this, but maybe try Fellowship. Me and Brendan were talking, and I think with my GM style and where I want to take the game, I think Fellowship works. Plus, Fellowship is another one that you can throw any veneer on top of it and use it for whatever flavor you want it to be.
Yeah, you literally can. I was talking to someone else, and they were telling me what that they thought that it'd be super easy to just switch it over. John could be the ogre and yada yada, and it's just like it's so you can just fit anything into that game. I think that I've talked to Alex a little bit about this, but this is the game system where I was like, oh yeah, if you wanted to play like Mass Effect and Fellowship, it is just done. There's no like conversion needed.
Yeah, you talked to me about it at some point, but that was honestly, I think that was pretty 2020, and so it's been a decade, even though it's been 2 years.
Yeah,
that's so unpopular opinion. I'm willing to give it another shot, but I wasn't a huge fan of Fellowship. I couldn't really get into it. It just felt like I was doing the same thing every single time. Like, I know people have an issue with, like, D&D and stuff and saying, oh, it's just all the same stuff all the time. There's no diversity to it. That's kind of how I felt with Fellowship. I felt like I was just doing the same stuff all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know enough about Fellowship to really have an opinion.
I mean, there's also like other similar. There are other systems that specifically work in like Deadlands and everything.
Not really.
Really?
Yeah, I looked at them, and a lot of them are not the best.
What I miss?
Like a lot of them are drop boxes of, oh yes, this is what I did to kind of just homebrew a Weird West game. Like,
Yeah.
Savage Worlds Deadlands has the Weird West market cornered.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, it's kind of a... Unfortunately, tabletop games kind of fall victim to, like, kind of hurtful and semi-racist stereotypes. And that, like, type of game, I imagine there's going to be a lot of, like, nuances of that aren't done well by a lot of companies.
Yeah.
Even Savage World was, like, pretty culturally insensitive on several things.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's also a struggle of, like, you know, the time period. It's like there's a difference between, you know, oh, we're gonna play in medieval times, right? Like, as Americans, that's so far removed from us, right?
Yeah, like that's fine versus like, hey, look at this kung fu class. He can play as a Chinaman who knows mystic martial arts.
Right.
Like, maybe not, guys. Maybe don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think trying to set a game in an old west, I think, especially for us as Americans, because that's kind of our culture, you know, there's a lot of shittiness that comes along with that, and I think it's very difficult to really untangle that from that.
And unfortunately, it's a bit ingrained in the genre. Like, I don't know, certain genres of games, like Shadowrun. When I run that, I have to look at that very carefully because there's a lot of like poverty wage disparity and like classism and capitalist like mistreatment of people that is like a core part of that genre that you can't really not have, unfortunately. And something similar, there's something similar to be said for like, this game is based on the Wild West, where we were absolute dog shit to our fellow man, and everyone else who wasn't a white male.
Oh no, sex workers had it pretty good in the Wild West.
They did.
They ran that shit.
They did.
They rose and destroyed civilizations on a whim.
I guess besides system talk, I guess did we want to talk anything about like the characters or like the plot or anything?
Yeah, I wanna address something real quick with Tyler.
Yeah.
Season 2 was gonna be Jackie's story.
Yeah.
Like, I know you didn't feel like you got a lot this one, but this one I did drop a lot of hints about Jackie's story to build up to where my plan is to hit that on season 2.
So keep that card in my pocket then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a question for you, Cody.
Yeah.
Did you kind of like switch directions halfway through with the story? Like,
Absolutely.
Did you kind of have something figured out and just like kind of go, fuck that, we're going this way?
Oh, that's exactly what happened.
Because I was kind of tracking like, okay, yeah, there's this coal mine. We gotta like industrialize or die. We gotta talk to these companies. Cool. Oh wait, we're in Yeehaw heaven. Yeehaw upside down. When did this happen?
Yeah.
I think the turning point was the zombies.
No, actually.
No?
The turning point was the father call.
Yeah.
I got excited and he showed up, and then it was like, yes, this shark's been jumped. There's no turning back now. Because, you know, he kidnaps one of the party members' wives. Y'all aren't going to be like, oh, that sucks. Gotta get back on writing this train contract.
Well, let's open the mine first and then go after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, the issue I foresee with that, too, is, like, hey, we just fought a gigantic, weird spider demon that was inhabiting Samuel's daughter. But, like later on in Season 2, hey, these mundane yeehaw guys with their 6-shooters are giving you a run for your money. They're stronger than that gigantic spider demon was. Like, balancing that is hard in my mind.
Oh, no, they won't be. Because, well, they might be if we're using a different system, but Savage Worlds, again, one of my gripes with it is there is no challenge rating.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh yeah, these are the goons, and if your goons are stronger than the goons, I guess they just beat the shit out of them.
But, like, devising a challenge for a narrative becomes very, very hard with that.
Right.
I guess that's the point you're making, yeah.
It's the same issue with, like, World of Warcraft and taking that story seriously. It's like, okay, cool, like, it's a high fantasy, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
but like, how many world-shaking, like,
well, right, exactly.
cataclysms
like,
can you defeat?
Okay, you get to Wrath, and it's like, we fight the Lich King. It's like, okay, that's like...
Boblin the Goblin.
Somehow within the scale of possibility, but yeah, they just...
Boblin the Goblin in Warlords of Draenor is infinitely stronger than literally Arthas in Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, and it just totally loses all...
You like that one, Brendan?
Yeah, that was pretty good, yeah. Boblin the Goblin goes to solo Arthas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if you took, like, the gamified aspects out, right? And it's still, like, the scale of the foes, the big bads, just get so far beyond your, like, any sense of, like, groundedness, you know? Like, Arthas is like, okay, that's hard, it's whatever, but, like, okay, you get to the point where you're, like, fighting like reality bending entities and stuff, and it's like that. Just.
But here comes Big Dick Boblin the Goblin, ready to ruin your whole life.
Right? Oh yeah, new raid. We just caught big thing. Now let's go kill human caster person.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally did switch gears around the time that happened, because that happened, and then it's like, oh. Now I felt like I was having more fun. So I went the direction that I was having fun with, and I hope y'all enjoyed it too, even if it did get a little confusing there for a little bit.
I do wish I had known that that's kind of where we were going, because if I had known that was the caliber, I might have played something different. But
I think that's what a lot of the character player issue kind of probably boils down to, is like either lack of communication or miscommunication or something. But like, I think different players had different understandings of like what style of Western game it was going to be or whatever, right?
And that may have just been my fault. Maybe
I think everyone makes some assumptions, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think like your assumption of what Weird West is normal people with, is Southern Gothic.
Right.
Whereas Savage Worlds turns out to not be Southern Gothic. It turns out to be a lot more steampunk.
Right. And Southern Gothic, I think, is what truly that I made.
Yeah, like Jackie would be perfect in a Southern Gothic game. But I don't know how to make a Southern Gothic game.
Like when I made Jackie, I didn't pull out my gear-filled top hat and start like having dreams about trains. I listened to a whole bunch of Dead South and then made a character.
Yeah.
Hey Tyler.
Hey.
I mean this in a good way, so don't take it bad, but I think Jackie would have been better suited as like a parlor LARP or just a roleplay character the way you were playing him. And I feel like that
I was pretty good in just an actual fight. But the issue is, by the time I got to my turn to have an actual fight, and I ran up and hit a guy with my knife, Brendan had drop kicked the guy's ocular bone out of his head, and everything was on fire, and someone had been sent to hell by Samuel, and there was a flock of birds down the ground, and
yeah,
I was a bit out of the scope.
Yeah.
Look, the birds had it coming.
The birds had it coming.
So, I mean, I think this kind of turned into Samuel's story, the second half of that game. And so, do you guys want to know anything?
Do we want to? Well, I think Cody has some stuff planned for me, so I wish I could say more about my character, because I know I've been playing with my cards literally in my shirt, so close to my chest. As I think a lot of us have. I don't know. What can I say, Cody?
Say what you want. It's up to you, because maybe you'll want to play somebody else and see. I'm not going to force you to keep playing a character if you don't like Jackie.
Well, I think we will have to go with what happens. I don't know, because we're
in like a
releasing
year
this.
from now.
Can I just make a guess as to what is Jackie's past?
Yeah, sure. I think I'd like that.
Ask away.
Okay. I feel like that Jackie used to be a railroad guy, like a railroad conductor, and then he accidentally ran a train off the tracks and through an orphanage, and the survivors of the orphanage are those gang members that keep showing up trying to kill him.
Interesting.
That's rather specific there.
That's an interesting guess. Anyone else have a guess?
Not that.
Yeah, it's not that.
Oh, you actually finally told me, so I'm not guessing.
Yeah, Christina does know.
Brendan killing children again. Shocker.
I think I'm just gonna spill my beans here, Cody. Jackie was a turncoat Confederate soldier who was a bandit. He was a gang member, and he caused the bandit attack that train. He was the direct cause of that orphanage getting demolished. And
he did run a train into an orphanage.
I did run a train into an orphanage, but I wasn't a conductor. I was the one who was actively assaulting the train.
Oh my god! I was close, but I was looking at the wrong person.
You were close.
I've never seen somebody be so close while being so wrong close. At the same time.
Yeah, you were like, you almost had it, but you didn't have it. Oh
man, that also
Jackie has that
game with
that
no backstory,
the crawler tattoo thing that we've seen a couple times on a couple dudes. Jackie has that on his arm.
Huh.
Yeah. And after that incident, he deserted his former gang and tried to start life over.
That's pretty cool.
Y'all already know everything about John.
Yeah, there's so much depth, though. We might be missing something.
I had to kind of play that close too, because Jackie was a former Confederate soldier and probably knows everything about all the war crimes he committed.
Right? Yeah, no, that actually makes some of our later interactions when John's just like, nah, fuck them. Fuck them. They're the worst. I'll kill anyone from there. And you're just like, are you sure, bud? I'm like, yeah. I'm just like, oh, this puts some new context on this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'm staying hidden.
Guess I'll just go fuck myself. Yeah. But yeah, that was Jackie. And that guy who jumped us, Brendan, he was he was like a survivor from that orphanage. He was actually just a child.
Yeah, that's where I got my idea that the people that were coming after you were
You were right about that to a degree.
I will be completely honest. The only reason that I picked up on any of this is because that I was doing the editing and I was having to give it a couple passes, and it was like, oh, okay. If it had just been a one and done thing, would have never noticed.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that from just kind of listening to your roleplay the one time.
Neither did I.
Well, there was a couple things. It were small hints.
Yeah, like I said, there was a lot of small hints as to what Jackie's story was going to turn into, but I was planning on hitting that harder on season 2.
Yeah. So, the first half of the game, probably for me, so I put a lot of kind of thought in trying to create a complex layered character for Samuel, because I will say playing with you guys.
That was a pretty good job, Alex. Your character was very well thought out, I think.
I think there was another layer to him still, but I can
oh god, so many layers.
Yeah. So basically, what Cody and I worked out. So basically, Samuel is an avatar of Samael. He was a mortal construct But he basically gained consciousness, like in prehistory. And so they've kind of had this like cyclical like relationship throughout time where Samael's trying to kind of, reclaim the body to, be able to use it and control it. And Samuel is trying to live his life, and he's born every 100 years, and he's unaware of this. And goes through life kind of repeating the same patterns, like finding a woman, falling in love, having 2 daughters, blah, blah, blah. And at some point, it's that family that gets him in trouble because something happens.
It was
to his magic.
It was a BioShock moment. I see.
Yeah. But so basically what happened when he, sucked the corruption out of, the spider form demon of his daughter. So he got all those memories of all those lifetimes. So that vision we had collectively, that was a memory of his from like essentially Mesopotamia.
Oh, that's something I want to hit at that got left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
That vision y'all had from the Morning Mist. So Morning Mist is I don't want to say bad guy. It's a stage effect that is the physical manifestation of a wrongdoing. And the reason it was in the church was because of all the bloodshed at Samuel's hands over the ages, which is why y'all got the vision, because like the way to beat it is to right the wrong.
So when I first proposed this to Cody, I was telling him like, I imagine this coming out of like someone basically, creating an intimate connection with him, whether that's like healing or resurrection or something, and like all that would flow into them, into their head, and they would see his true nature. So yeah, like literally he's had these daughters through the ages, and sometimes he saves them and sometimes he doesn't. And so they literally like are, the biblical entities holding those names.
Which is why it was funny when the one daughter was like, we've all got our, this wasn't your fault, Jackie. We've all got our roles to play. And you're like, nah, fuck that. It's hilarious because, she's played that role like 1,000 times by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, neat.
Let's see. We did hit story. We hit the system. Is there anything anybody else wants to share with their characters, or
what was up with Emerson? I gotta know. I don't even think. I'm not sure if Christina even knows, but that was a neat moment. I liked.
You'll want to know a secret, bud?
Yeah.
That was all off the cuff.
Yeah, but do you know where did the cuff end?
So with that, pretty much played the yes, this was my plan all along trick.
I mean, I could tell you kind of. I couldn't tell it was like instantly off the cuff, but I knew it had been something you'd had recently decided on.
Yeah. I think we got through most of it. That their close friend and or partner that they had the bird sanctuary with got attacked by birds one day. Those birds were the part that we didn't get to is those birds were under control of the father and call, which is why he was there. Like it was the bird attack was setting up to increase the fear rating of that area so that he could do what he wanted to do, what needed to be done at a later date. If that makes sense.
Was the father in Caw that way when Samuel first met his daughter?
No.
Or was that like the later choice?
That was a later choice. Like, this was between Sam and... It's not Adrian. Is it Adrian?
Adrian. I did it. Man, shout out to Rambo.
You mean Rocky?
Yeah, I do.
God, how dare you take the symbol of Philadelphia in vain in front of me, you fucker.
Fucking go huff a can of cheese whiz, dude. Get out of here.
Go kick over a hitchhiking robot or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrea. At some point after Sam and Andrea run off, is when the father in Call starts being corrupted and working his works.
So could you almost say that Samuel's arrival there kind of set all that off?
No, Samuel is the actual big bad of this problem.
Yeah, all right.
Like, he is the problem.
I mean, knowing what we know now, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I have a question for Michaela, if that's okay. Did you go in knowing that you were gonna, like, sacrifice Doc Val, like, at any point?
So, she actually has the hindrance, death wish, and heroic. So, that was kind of going to happen at some point.
What do those mean, like, in the system?
So, in the system, I had taken extra hindrances to get some extra skills. And the death wish, the hero wants to die after completing some sort of task, and I had major heroic hindrance, meaning would always help those in need, willing to sacrifice themselves, a sucker for any sob story. So between those two combined and the fact that she was a pacifist and couldn't really fight back against humans, I had a feeling she would probably die or be sacrificed to try to find some sort of meaning with death, since she had such a complicated relationship with death and healing.
Well, yeah, all right. I mean,
now, general question here, just throwing that out. Since we have a character that has died and a character that has skipped town, and we're going to have two of the party not playing the same characters, and we're doing this kind of this moment here.
Real quick, since this is technically going to get released after the actual epilogue gets brought in, I messaged Cody about this. John left in the middle of the night to go to the rail town and tell the witches and Josh Chamberlain about Doc Val's passing, and he's going to basically come in time for the eulogy with everyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but just with so are we planning on doing the continuation of this game with the same characters, just a different system later, or what are you feeling, Cody?
So I know it's going to be a different system. I think same characters. I'll leave it up to y'all. If we do change characters, like say we play the fellowship system, Samael, like if we do change characters, Samael is gonna be the big bad.
Cool.
Well, now that I know going in, if that's the case, I may look at something different than Jackie. Probably we'll have to see how it goes. But
I think that it would also. I think it would also make a difference if that, like, you know, if Alex is going to play Samael, then or Samuel or whatever, then like, oh god, I'm so confused.
Samael is the fallen archangel of death. Samuel is your local preacher guy.
Okay. Never mind. I was thinking that Samael was the character that Alex was playing for some reason. I don't know.
I mean, also, yes.
Yeah. So, okay, if it wasn't clear, Cody and I had kind of worked out that, like, after that session where he kind of absorbed the corruption and was going to essentially have failed the deal with the devil thing, like, there was going to be a roll to see which one of them was in control, like each session. So, depending on which one was in control, one was going to, work towards taking care of his friends and the town and his family and blah, blah, blah. And the other one was going to work towards turning things into a Deadlands.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, well, he's an Archangel of Death. And which I don't know if you know any too much, because it didn't probably apply to John, but, if you know anything about how the entities in the hunting grounds work, like, that's probably the biblical understanding of this entity, and they probably have other understandings in other books.
If we come back with a season 2 and we I don't know, time skip or something, if I continue to play John, it is probably going to be I would probably ask that Cody give me I don't know, maybe not months, but John goes off and maybe gets a little smarter, because I'm gonna be completely honest, playing a dumb character was really fun for the first 3 or 4 sessions, and then it just exhausted me to come in and play.
Yeah.
Because I had to be dumber than I actually am, which is it's fun sometimes to just turn your brain off and just do things, but then I don't actually pick up on things, and it kind of made me feel like I wasn't giving Cody's game the time that it deserved, if that makes sense.
Okay, but can I be real with you though, Brendan? John wasn't any goofier than Traveler. And that was a pretty serious game that you brought literally just a homeless drunk into.
We rolled a homeless drunk.
Brendan, I think you kind of just fell in love with having a phase of himbo characters. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I might have.
Yeah.
And
you tend to hit these little phases.
And I'm not saying that wasn't fine, because it was fine in Shadow of the Demon Lord. I worked around it. But you were certainly, the opposite of the straight man in that game. In a game full of straight men, you were the fucking wild card.
Well, I mean, someone had to be.
Dude, I was a robot with depression. I was supposed to be the wild card.
And also, not necessarily.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes just playing it straight works. Yeah, no, that for season 2, if I play John again, or if I do something else, I'm going to put quite a bit more thought behind it. Even if the character isn't actually smart, I'm going to at least have a bit more of something to pull from.
Also, Cody, if you want something that's truly a horror experience, but yeehaw, you could certainly just use Shadow of the Demon Lord.
I mean, you're not wrong.
No agenda there whatsoever.
No agenda whatsoever.
I would be perfectly happy to sacrifice Samael to the story gods and play something else to allow him to be a big bad for you too.
But this is all
Shadow of the Demon Lord do sound good.
We don't have to discuss this right now. We can always talk about it later.
Yeah, right.
Just a thought.
I guess, besides that, Christina or Britt, do you guys have any input as far as characters or the story goes? I'd love to hear from both of you.
I kind of just went into this just wanting to play, excuse me, just a weird character. I think over time I lost a lot of the energy I had for Emerson, just because as things got more, it was really hard to play up that levity aspect of it without it just seeming very out of place or forced. But it was very interesting to get to play a character that just didn't know about their past, and it was I put this in your hands. I trust you, DM, to figure out what their bullshit is.
Yeah, good on you, Cody, for entertaining that. Because, man, would I be no, make your own backstory if that were me?
Man, see, so the thing is I'm not gonna lie, I did have a little bit of a gripe with that, But at the same time, I've been role playing with Christina for how long? And I'm like, all right, Christina always puts 1,000,001 into her characters. She can have this one. She can have the cookie.
Yeah,
one time.
Never really do that often, and that's why I was just like, Cody's like, nah, no, I don't want to deal with this. I'll be like, cool, sure, this is their backstory. Then I'll come up with some reason for why they don't fucking like birds or something.
Yeah, no, the bird hatred was one of my favorite parts of the game. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Well,
I like
adored
Emerson as a character a lot.
And it was supposed to be a phobia of birds, and I was kind of like, can this just evolve into like a paranoia, phobia, hatred thing for birds? And I'll still take the
that's
death
accurate.
role.
Yeah, like fear channeled into anger or rage.
Phobias are a lot less scary when you got a gun.
And you can shoot them.
I mean, to
It's
me, like, the
harder to-
phobias
it does
become
help
really
you
irrational.
Fear is heights, you know?
Yeah, like you can't.
There was a lot of
shoot height
talking
out of the
going
air.
on, and I did not catch all of that.
Oh, I was saying, like, you know, a gun only helps you with certain phobias. You can't shoot your way out of a fear of heights.
You can try.
If I shoot the cliff enough, it'll become shorter. Like, come on, think outside the box.
Yeah, but you're not
Yep.
scared of heights when you're on the bottom. The fear's there when you're on top. Then you're shooting the ground out from under you.
I step back, I shoot the edge, and slowly make stairs going down with like the gunshot area. It's fine.
That's a lot of ammo.
I don't think you understood how much ammo I had as Emerson.
Okay. Well, you had more than Samuel did, that's for sure.
So,
far
like,
as the-
Emerson also had the like halfway pacifism thing. Oh my god, I can't talk.
Pacifism.
Pacifism.
Like, I know Doc Val had the full one. So it was literally just oh man, is it not birds? Then, I need them to be threatening first, which, I mean, I know I'm doing also for Exalted, but I don't know, it's just been kind of fun to be like, go ahead, hit me first. Do the thing first. Become a threat. Give me a threat. Give me a reason.
Uh-huh. I will say the father in Ka, it was, by the rules, it was only a minor, rival enemy thing.
I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who had a rival as a thing.
And the funny thing is I think yours was supposed to be a major, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing with the father and call is it was minor, but then I needed a plot device.
I know, I can see how it evolved. I get it, I'm not complaining. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
He had a bird. He took your wife. Then it became personal.
I mean, yeah. Even
It's all
though
good.
apparently I might have set him on this path, kind of. But, you know.
All could have been
Cody, I
avoided
will
if I
say
didn't give him
that
a bird.
I kind of like the idea that Brennan had of a time skip. I think a game could be very interesting of, like, you know, set in like 1890 or 1900, like kind of the end of the West, sort of, but like also like, you know, Samael having, you know, made a Deadland out of Caliente and being the crew coming in trying to clean it up, you know?
Yeah. Canonically that is a thing.
I'm sure it is.
There's a Deadlands 1920s noir.
I was totally
module.
thinking of a gangster one. I was just like, I don't know if you want to time skip that far.
I wouldn't want to play in the same system, but it is system canonical.
You know, Cody, we're approaching Blades in the Dark.
We
Yeah.
are, aren't we?
We're approaching at rapid speed Blades in the Dark.
You are rapidly approaching Blades in the Dark and Urban Shadows.
Yeah, but that's Christina's game.
Yeah, I know.
Things can be two things.
You're right.
If you want to run Blades in the Dark, I'm not going to be mad, or even if you just wanted to, like, co-GM Blades in the Dark or something. I wouldn't be mad either.
That might be something to look into. I don't know. I haven't looked into Blades in the Dark much. I know I've heard nothing but good things about it, but
I will say this though: Blades in the Dark is to what to expect from noir. It's like as so. Don't go in thinking Blades in the Dark is what Savage Worlds Deadlands was for me, because it's not. It's a lot. There's a lot in Blades in the Dark. There's like the city is surrounded by demons and shit, and there's like demon ghost blood you gotta go hunt down to power your city. It's not New York in the 1920s. It's pretty fucking intense.
Oh yeah, New York in the 1920s. I'll be the person from North Carolina with a southern accent while everyone else is a local of New York.
Every day you offend my heritage more and more.
No, see, the thing is we make everybody play the story set in Philadelphia, but Brendan's not allowed to be a local.
We're all born and raised, except for Brendan. You didn't get to spend most of your days in the schoolyard. Or the playground, or whatever the fuck the line is.
Playing b-ball on the playground.
Yeah, you didn't get to do that, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know.
You were raised in Bel Air.
Britt, did you have anything you wanted to add on?
I didn't really have a whole lot to add on. I didn't really have a backstory for Sid, other than, like, she had a husband, he died, so she moved to Caliente to start a new life, opened up a bar, and kind of survived, I guess. Every so often, I would be like, oh, that would be cool as a backstory plot point, or oh, that might be cool to add in, and just kind of filled in a couple pieces here and there. But I honestly, Sid was probably one of the hardest characters for me to get into the headspace to play that I've played with you guys, and I don't know why. It was just, she was the hardest character to really get into.
Can I just kind of take a stab in the dark at why that might be?
Sure.
So she moved out west to start a new life and everything, and owns a bar. She doesn't have a reason to leave the bar and go off on adventures with Sheriff John Liberty, the fucking weirdo with the high kicks, or the preacher who's in a constant state of repeating the same mistakes once a century and every now and again, or Emerson, who's just out there to murder the local avian population.
Yeah, shout out to you for being the only other moderately normal character in the party.
Yeah, I think that might have also been one of the things with Sid and Jackie potentially, is just that there's no real call to adventure. The dude who has a happy life, the farmer in a D&D world who has a happy life with a well-adjusted family and makes a living and doesn't have any real problems, they're not going to go off adventuring to go kill a kobold or go fight a dragon or whatever.
It's
they
true.
Have everything right here.
I will say, I will say, my call to adventure was my past finding me and not letting me go again. That's what I was that's what we were going to do for me.
Yeah.
I guess, honestly, that's probably what it was I didn't have a cool backstory because I didn't want to do, I didn't want to fall into the whole, a tragic backstory, so this is why I do things. Obviously, her husband dying is tragic, but it's not my family was murdered by this
right, it's not
ogre,
out
so
of
now
the ordinary tragic.
Yeah. It's just a typical slice of life type tragedy, and I think that's where I kind of went wrong in making Sid. But I made her personality very much, she cares for her friends and the people of the town that she made friends with. So she's going to go out and do this crazy shit to help them, which could also be possibly why she kind of deep dove into her weird science shit. Obviously, she started mixing shit to make drinks and shit, so she opened a bar. And yeah, that's kind of just what I did. I didn't really have a whole lot going for her. I just kind of was along for the ride with your guys' crazy, which was fun. Don't get me wrong. I loved every bit of it, dealing with your guys' crazy. It was just really hard to get into how would Sid react to this type mind space.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I also think that I think that if we had stayed on track with what my understanding was for the first couple sessions, where it was like, oh, we're gonna go talk to the rail companies, and then we're gonna get back to town, and then the season's gonna end with us clearing out the mine and getting whichever rail company that we want in here. That was my understanding of where the adventure was going. And I think that, like, Sid and Jackie fit a little bit more into that idea of what that I thought that the game was going to be, because it's like, it's kind of more down to earth. Like in that case, John and Samuel Samuel and Emerson to a lesser degree, and then like John to a greater degree, seem like the fucking weirdos who are just like, I'm here to help my friends. Whereas, like, because we went to Yeehaw Upside Down and like are making deals with the devil and have like huge horrifying implications, like I think that like the more down to earth characters kind of like, I don't want to say they kind of came out as like the weirdos comparatively, but the
game jumped the shark and we stayed on the ground.
Yeah, that's a good phrase.
It also doesn't help that like most of my characters I've played are not down to earth other than Raylan. Raylan was really one of the only down to earth characters, but she at least had backstory that kind of played into stuff, and I could get into that headspace super easy, but I also like I'm a big fantasy nerd, so that kind of helped with that. But like with Cassidy, I couldn't get into the proper headspace, and I think that did have a lot to do with the whole jumping the shark thing, because I was prepared for the whole railroad shit and like getting into the discussions of that. Like I was preparing myself for that to talk more. And then it kind of turned into something else. And I'm like, I don't know how to react to this. And I typically, like with Ferris, I can usually react to something pretty quickly if need be, or any of my other characters. But for some reason, I would have to sit and I'd have to think. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think having like, I think what backstory is ultimately about is providing context for a character, and it's having context that informs your decisions. So lacking that is like
exactly
kind of left like freewheeling. You're just spinning and like unsure.
Now, when we were trying to help find Samuel's wife and like his kids, that was something I was like, oh wait, Sid can connect to this. I can actually like help, quote unquote, with this kind of situation. So we were able to have that like that moment. And it was like, all right, cool, I can connect to this. But like birds and spider things, I was like, this is way out of this poor bartender's league.
Yeah.
And Chimera.
Which I think in the last couple sessions, I think that's really where Sid and Jackie shined. Is y'all were both there to ground the people who are like, we're jumping the shark and we're keeping going. Like, y'all brought the humanity back to the game while we were being goofy.
I actually really appreciated Jackie basically standing up to Samuel's crazy. And like,
y'all were just gonna let him keep doing what he was doing.
I know. And I mean, I'm playing him, and so like I'm just gonna keep going until someone like says something or stops him or something. So yeah, I actually really like that. Jackie kind of was like, I'm done with your bullshit.
Yeah.
When that all went down.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think when that all went down, I, as Brit, was like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I think I missed something or what, but Samuel's not Samuel. Jackie's yelling at Samuel, and I don't know what's going on. And I think my brain just kind of like short-circuited for a bit. So I was like, I'm just gonna see where this goes and then try to jump in at some point.
Mm-hmm. I will say this has been a very interesting way to get to know you all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. I guess like final thoughts on it. I don't like Savage Worlds, but holy shit, Cody, you kept that going and you kept me interested in it, even when that I did not like the system.
I do think it might behoove you a bit to have, like, I know the system kind of fell apart on us halfway through, but knowing the direction before, for everyone, you and us involved, I think would make for a bit more cohesion.
Yeah, well, the thing, I did know the direction, and then I stopped having fun with that direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think what Tyler is kind of saying is like, when you stopped having fun with that direction, maybe saying, hey guys, just a heads up, I'm changing the direction this is going a little bit. You don't have to tell us what it is, but that might have helped a little bit with the cohesion and us making
are you guys feeling a way about this? Are you guys finding this a little off like I am? And I think several of us have been like, yeah, this is also a little bit not for us, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like in the beginning, it was a little like slow and plotting, and I was like, I thought that we were gonna be like in the Wild West and doing Wild West shit, and like I think that the first two sessions are really good, and then when we go to the rail camp, like there's some really good moments in the rail camp that I enjoy, but like I think that it went on a little too long.
Yeah, after the rail camp was when I started to kind of fall off.
I was just kind of waiting for like bandits to attack or like something that was going to like kick things up a notch, I guess, to like force the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like not having something like that, something that provides kind of like a deadline or a sense of immediacy at the beginning of a campaign, like the players are kind of trying to figure out the setting and the world and the like, okay, where do we fit into all this and stuff, and like not having that, they kind of go in circles a bit, I find. So I find having something that really like sets things off, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, I feel like it could have been interesting to like, rather than have like basically come across the aftermath of that zombie town and like piece together that it was the I forget what they were called, the voodoo guys.
Bayou Vermilion, yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of being like a, you know, like they basically got impatient and they're gonna fucking like overrun our town. Like that would have been a like, oh shit, we need to fast track this shit with the other railroad and like get them to help us defend the town and like then have the like zombie town battle in our town.
Right.
And then like, yeah, that could have been interesting.
But anyways.
Yeah. But I genuinely enjoyed playing this with you guys.
Glad. Hope to have you on more projects then. This has
Hopefully.
been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Having Alex was definitely a breath of fresh air and giving another spin on just all the weird that we do. It was nice to see more weird that wasn't just our weird.
Yeah,
yeah, like game and system and story aside, it's been great to have some fresh blood in the game.
Awesome! I'm glad I've put in. I like throwing a little corruption into the game worlds generally.
That was good. Good stuff.
Tyler, you say that as if we didn't just add Michaela to
Michaela, too. I mean, I was actually including Michaela in that as well.
Oh, okay.
I guess I could have made that more clear. Yeah, Michaela for Exalted in this as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Like,
Absolutely,
Tarali is such an interesting, person to add into the weird that we had going. And she fits right in. But, she's also very different, and I love it.
Well, do we have anything else that we want to add on? Anything else we want to talk about before I cut the recording?
Oh, what happens to the town? Nah, I'm kidding.
We already covered what happens to the town, bud.
Yeah, in the epilogue, it totally has been recorded.
Oh, I was talking about how Samuel loses control and Samael turns everything into a Darklands, and
I mean, he has been
Blades in the Dark
stockpiling
100 years later.
The Soul Rock or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah,
he's got plenty of fuel to use.
He's got that nuke waiting to go.
Dark magic. Time to take it off the map. But yeah, I'm good to end.
Okay, yeah. If nobody else has anything else to add, then I'm going to cut the recording. It's been fun getting to hear everyone's opinions and ideas and everything. Hopefully we'll play something in the second season with a system yet to be determined, and we can figure that out on the backside.
Nice.
Thank you for taking the time to enjoy our show. If you liked what you heard, why not tell your friends, or hit the like button. If you loved it, or have ways we can improve, leave a comment on the episode, or a review to help us get out to more ears. I'm always looking for feedback to improve the show. Speaking of feedback, you could also send that to apairofdicelost on Twitter, or apairofdicelost@gmail.com. The theme music for this game is Born Barnstormers by Brian Boyko, used under a Creative Commons license. And finally, for making it this far, why don't you go ahead and refill all your bennies for the week.